Good morning and welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. My name's Diane Alcorn and I am the Membership and Engagement Coordinator here. If this is your first time visiting with us, welcome. We're glad you took the time to join us here. If you'd like more information about our church and our worship community, please feel free and send me an email. In the meantime, again, welcome. We're so glad you took the time to join us.
Welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church, a spiritual community whose hope is audacious and whose vision is for a more equitable and just world for all. I'm Judy Montgomery, proud to serve as a worship associate. Joining me today are David Blazer, music director, Megan Ross, Director of Religious Education and Member Engagement, Larry Wise, Christine Salante, and Michael Hockman, who are our wonderful tech folks who make this live stream possible. A special welcome to our guest speaker this morning, my dear friend, Shirley Nelson. I first met Shirley about 5 years ago when she co-facilitated the Beloved Conversation workshop here at West Shore. We connected that first night and have been friends ever since. Shirley is a Cleveland area interspiritual counselor and life skills coach, founder of Sands Sacred Circle, which offers retreats and workshops, former vice president of the Council for Health and Human Service Ministries of the United Church of Christ, and author of The Many Faces of Prayer, a healing balm in the 21st century. She is currently a student at One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York City and has been enrolled since 2017. She is in her last year of seminary and will be ordained in June 2021. She is also the part-time office administrator and newsletter editor for our sister Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. A warm West Shore welcome to you, Shirley. Together, we are pleased to invite you into this space, which is connecting people in Cleveland and beyond to our welcoming community. Often, the world is not so welcoming. Often, the values of the world are neither loving nor just. So, may this worship hour be one where our souls are fed by a wisdom and a passion that remind us that life doesn't have to be that way, that there exists a larger love in every human heart, urging us on to what is better. Let this larger love move in our midst today, and may we be changed by it. A very special welcome to you if you are a newcomer to our community. Gay or straight, cisgender or transgender, black or brown or white, you are welcome. Our West Shore regulars would love to greet you and will do that if you indicate in the Facebook chat that you are new or relatively new. If you happen to have any questions and would like to chat with a live person, West Shore's new member and engagement coordinator, Diane Alcorn, would love to reach out to you. Diane's email address is being added to your Facebook chat as we speak. And now, some announcements from Megan.
Good morning. I have just a few announcements for you today. Our giving tree requests are nearly full. We have just a few more gifts to purchase, so please check the link that was in your e-news if you'd like to help out. I can't believe how quickly this filled up, and I am so amazed and impressed by your generosity. This week, next week, we are back to our regular religious education schedule. Classes for grades K to 8 and our youth group for high school are off today for the holiday and will resume on December 6th. I hope the children, youth, and teachers have all enjoyed having their holiday break. And lastly, today is the last day of our Guest at Your Table campaign. This campaign benefits the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. If you have a box containing change or bills that you are ready to bring back, I will be here at church from 11:30 to 1 o'clock today and would be happy to take your box. Or you can bring it during regular church hours, office hours, which are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If you didn't take a box, but you would still like to donate, you can do so on Realm, or you can send a check to West Shore with Guest at Your Table written in the memo line. Thank you so much to everyone who has helped support this worthy cause. And now we have our last video as a part of our Guest at Your Table campaign from one of the UUSC's partners, Suja. And here is Suja.
In high school, I was going for exam and I was not allowed to sit in an exam. So I pretty much challenged the immigration officer who was not. So for that, I was arrested and I was detained. And after about 11 days, I was released on bail. Yet I was not, even the officer who released me told that it is not a guarantee freedom. So the general concern was, you could get again and then basically get killed. So that's how I fled. Alum empowerment is basically to provide a safe space for refugees to come and breathe. An education or training space to have that space that they can come and they can feel free and they can exercise their cultural things that they want to, for example, wedding, they want to do it in a cultural manner. We provide the space for them.
Thank you, Megan. Just a reminder about the ongoing conversations Reverend Anthony is hosting about West Shore's new organizational plan that is going into effect. This Wednesday, December 2nd, at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom, will be the fourth conversation of 6 that are planned. This fourth conversation is with any and all volunteers involved in the area of care and community. An email invitation has already gone out to you. If you are involved in this area and you haven't received an invitation yet, please contact Debbie Elliott in the office and she'll get that to you. Each program council will have its own conversation. For more on this, please read the larger announcement in this month's Shorelines newsletter. A final announcement comes from West Shore's Aesthetics Committee. They would like to thank all who participated in the production of our first virtual art show, Panning the Pandemic. It was a great success and was viewed and enjoyed by many in our West Shore family. With your help, we would like to present our next project entitled Seasonal Cheer. We are requesting that you take photos of your winter holiday decorations or creations and send them in so that all may enjoy the spirit of the season. For more information, please see the November shorelines. Once again, welcome to this new day. Every week, we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It is a beautiful reminder that no matter how many jarring events might happen over the course of the week, the gathered community that is West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church is a source of stability and meaning we can depend on. We gather this hour as people of faith. With joys and sorrows, gifts and needs, we light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Together, in spirit, we are one. Let us witness to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio su ley. Este es nuestro magnífico convenio, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Thank you, Judy, for that warm welcome. It is my pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm grateful to you and Reverend Anthony McCarr for the invitation. West Shore is a thriving spiritual community that offers numerous programs and activities for members and friends to participate in, which are listed on their website. Our current state of affairs is unsettling and disquieting, and without community, it can be even more challenging. Community is a powerful way to maintain our vision and stay on track for ourselves and our society. In community, we empower the whole while taking nothing away from the individual. These times are difficult, but they're also beneficial in ways that we may never know again. Do you find yourself being more reflective, more open-hearted, and willing to help others? There are gifts in these times of nerve-wracking stillness that may not be opened at any other time. Thus, our time of greeting. We include this in every Sunday worship because, as a ritual, it symbolizes the value we put on relationships. We need each other. Lone Rangerism does not work when we're talking about spiritual growth or social justice. We just can't do it alone. So now we greet each other. We meet in the midst of our lives among the West Shore family. Nolan's birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Nolan. We always love to lift up the birthdays of the children and youth in our community. We also have birthdays of senior members of West Shore to celebrate. Happy birthday to these folks who were born in November. Paul Foster, Lois Skidmore, Alice Alexander, Jeff Brown, Sherry Sika, Ruth Burka, and Ann Benjamin. Happy, happy birthday.
We also want to offer our heartfelt condolences to Drina and Gary Nemes on the passing of mother-in-law Edie Schwady, age 92, on November 16th. Edie was a remarkable church member, serving as board member, service auction co-founder, stewardship canvas co-chair, adult programs leader, partner church supporter, and fellow traveler to Transylvania, England, District Summer Institute, and countless UU General Assemblies. Her ashes will be placed in our memorial garden, and a memorial service offered by the Reverend Beth Marshall will occur at a safe time next year. Cards and notes may be sent to Drina and Gary at 415 Lake Forest Drive, Bay Village, 44140.
Let each of us now say the names of people whom we are holding in our personal thoughts and prayers this morning. People in the West Shore community and beyond. Wherever you happen to be, say into the space of your room these names. You may even type the name into our West Shore Facebook chat if you like. I will pause for a moment as we do this. This has been our greeting time when we are called out of the 24/7 ordinary world into a community of fellow seekers and searchers that belongs to a larger movement hundreds of years old. It is a circle we belong to, a circle of enabling love. Let's now sing our opening hymn, number 95, There is More Love Somewhere.
One of the relationships I was in lasted 17 years. I wasn't very happy for most of those years and considered regularly if I should leave the relationship, but due to some previous history, I stayed very loyal and determined that it could get better. In 2010, a friend needed a place to stay temporarily as she was leaving her marriage. My partner and I agreed that she could stay for a while until she got her feet on the ground. 2 months later, they both left for work and didn't come home that night. They didn't answer my texts or my phone calls. Then I got an email about 8 o'clock from a mutual friend telling me how sorry she was to hear we'd broken up. They never did come home that night. I learned to say the F word that night. Even that terrible night, I knew it was a very good thing for me. God did for me what I could not do for myself. I was very hurt and angry, though, and I kept using that bad word. With the help of supportive friends, I got my footing pretty quickly. The first thing I did was change the locks. I knew I would feel more secure if I was the only person who could enter my home. I packed all her belongings over the next couple of weeks, not out of kindness, but to make sure it happened very quickly for me. And then I learned from a friend how to take care of my hot tub, from another friend how to use my lawn tractor. From yet another friend, I learned how to use my snowblower. I will never forget that first snowfall, pushing the snowblower up and down the driveway, giggling because I felt so empowered. The next fall, I moved to Lakewood after looking all over the North Coast. Why didn't I know I needed to live in Lakewood? I'd taught there for 30 years, and Lakewood was my community more than the town in which I actually lived. Then I went looking for my own furniture. How empowering to make choices about what I wanted in my home. So many blessings have come with my new life. I love my apartment on the lake. I believe I wouldn't have found West Shore or Zentangle if things hadn't happened the way they did. So even though the wrapping on that gift had the word betrayal on it, I grew and grew, and I learned that I could be more self-sufficient than I knew I could be. I came to cherish some of my friends even more, and I became even more confident in myself. A couple of years after the breakup, my ex-partner started calling me on my birthday and holidays. She was single again by that time. Over time, we talked a little more often. I was clear that it wasn't about trying to get back together, but rather trying to forge a friendship. Lesbians do tend to be friends with their exes. One day, she told me she was going to a wedding and had no idea what to wear. Would I be willing to help her shop? Really? But I realized I was willing to do that for her. Why? None of my friends understood my willingness, and I didn't exactly either, but I knew I could and would do it. I'm still not sure it is out of love for her, but it is for sure because love is what I want to put out into the world. We never know what might come of unexpected gifts.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. We are all so grateful for the gifts that all of you share with us here at West Shore. Your gifts support so many programs in the community that, as Judy said, puts more love out into the world. Now please, consider lending or texting a one-time gift to West Shore. Instructions for how to do that can be found on your screen. Thanks for considering a gift this morning. It's only because of your generosity that we can do what we do. This includes the beautiful music that we are going to hear right now. the theme song from the movie Selma, which portrays the 1965 Selma to Montgomery marches. Written by rapper Common and American singer John Legend, here is Glory. And now I invite you to join me in a meditation on hope and love in a time of struggle. Wherever you are in your home, I invite you to close your eyes or lower your lids and take several deep breaths in and out. Relax your shoulders. Relax your knees, relax your feet. Breathe in and out, and notice the softness of your breath and the fullness in your heart. Simply relax and breathe. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. Instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open. Breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion. Breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Amen and Ashe. This concludes our time of meditation. You may now open your eyes. On November 10th, 2020, the flame of an unsung hero was extinguished. Mrs. Lucille Bridges passed away at the age of 86. Lucille Bridges was the mother of Ruby Bridges, the first Black child to go to school in the newly integrated school system in Louisiana in 1960. I invite you to listen to Mrs. Bridges as she explains why she wanted her daughter to be the one to build a bridge to a better tomorrow. In this video you are about to see, she talks about the reasons she was led to do what she did, in spite of the danger it created for her and her family.
Ruby was actually born in Mississippi, and Carl was the second child. Then Mary was 3 months old when we went to New Orleans. So we decided to leave so we could make it better, you know. Ruby had to take a test. It was 165 children that took the test. Just 5 kids passed the test. And so Ruby was one of the ones. I wanted it better for my kids, and it was for us, so we could go to school and learn, get our education. But before the integration started, we had to go to the superintendent, Redmond, so we had to go to his office, and he explained to me and my husband that we was praying peoples, and we had to pray because things were gonna get really worse. Because when we drove up right by the school, they had so many United States Marshals, so many people just standing, screaming and hollering, and 2468, we don't want to integrate, 2468, you know, just carry that nigger away, and just every kind of thing they were saying, you know. But we just got out and started pitching eggs and tomatoes and everything, and but they didn't hit us because the marshals really took care. And when we walked to the step, when we got to the step, they had city policemen, and they says, you cannot come in. And 2 of the marshals said, the United States, the president said we can. Later on, one of the city policemen was arrested because he pulled his gun to shoot, and everybody said they knew probably to kill me, and says if they killed the mother, the child wouldn't have went. So, but they wouldn't let us know that until later. And so we got in the car and started home. So many people got in the car and just followed us. And when they followed us home, they started pitching bottles and things. And all our neighbors was at the corner because they had a bar right on the corner. They had bottles, bricks and things, they was throwing them back. So what they did is just call in the United States Marshals in each car. Then they had a machine gun beside the guns they had. And that's the way we lived it for a whole year. And I just think it is a good thing to let people know what you did. And you know, it's really just something that we couldn't get my education, so I just really wanted other people to know how hard it was. Study, listen to what the teachers tell them and their mothers and fathers, and after they get their education, they could be any person they wanted to be, doctors, lawyers, or anything, but you have to have that education. And I would love for them to just listen to my stories so they can know how hard it was for my kids to go to school. Like all those peoples and things calling us names and things, you just have to charge that to their ignorance and just go on, be yourself, and go on, and God will bring you through. That's when I tell them, I'm just as proud of anybody else's children as I am mine for getting their education, because I feel like I still did something that other people's children can, you know what I did means something.
At the time this happened, I was just a little girl myself, 10 years old. Little Ruby Bridges was only 6 years old. I can't recall the incident at the time it was happening, but became aware of it during the height of the civil rights movement while in my teenage years. Even now, I cannot fathom what it took for Lucille Bridges to allow her daughter to be the sacrificial lamb for many of us who today have reaped the benefits of her courage. In order to integrate the school system, Ruby had to be accompanied by a team of U.S. Marshals and walk through crowds of angry white adults screaming racist hate messages at her. She was just 6 years old. Can you imagine yourself at that age and going through something like that? This behavior went on for at least a year. Now, I came to understand that in some interviews with Ruby, she said she wasn't even afraid because she thought it was the Mardi Gras. There's a saving grace there. Imagine what it must have been like for Lucille Bridges to walk her little girl through the screaming crowd of racist slurs. Imagine the fear and frustration she must have felt for her child, as well as for herself. The anger she must have swallowed. The pride and dignity she had to pour forth and put on display. The sheer, unrelenting exhaustion of it all. We're talking about courage in the midst of untold fear. We're talking about faith in the midst of explosive hate. We're talking about transforming a system that was designed to give those who are privileged an upper hand. We're talking about stifling the life out of an oppressed people for the sake of power and control. What kind of madness is this? Ruby's father had reservations about it. It was Lucille who insisted that Ruby get the opportunity for equal education, and not just for her, but for all Black children. She knew the importance of what they were doing, and not only was she willing to do it, but she was able to instill into Ruby the character qualities she needed to be able to withstand it all. One white teacher who was kind and compassionate, while others took no part in helping little Ruby navigate the terrain, took a stand in the face of ignorance. She was an educator to the highest degree. She showed the people what the face of love looks like. She showed up every day to teach Ruby when no one else would go near her, not one teacher or student. None of the white parents would allow their children to be in a classroom with her. Now we're talking about faith. We're talking about hope. We're talking about passion, and we're talking about love. What that mother and child and teacher went through in order to make this world a better place could only come from the kind of love that most of us will never, ever have to dig that deep for. Love is our best coach. Please note, there's a difference between a coach and a teacher. A teacher deals with a blank slate. They provide information and knowledge that is new to the student. A coach starts with what already exists, and by shaping, molding, and resculpting, they're able to help the student refine and expand what is already within. Love is not something to be taught. We are love. It is inside of us. And when life taps us on the behind or hits us upside the head with a 2x4 in order to open our hearts, we are transformed by the healing power of love. You see, love works with what is already there. Love takes what you have and makes more of it. Love doesn't start from a blank slate. It doesn't have to. Leave that to the teachers of life. How often have you learned from the School of Hard Knocks? Those are the teachers of life, not necessarily born of love. Because of Mrs. Lucille Bridges and her precious child, the hearts and minds of men and women opened up to a brand new way of seeing and being. This gift, as unlikely as it appeared, came wrapped in flesh in the form of a 6-year-old girl who had no idea how she was going to change the world. Love is like a healing balm, healing all wounds, all hurts, and all sorrows. Yes, there was an upheaval. There was bitterness. There was ignorance. There was resistance. But in the end, there was acceptance. Our hearts opened up to deeper dimensions of love in order to see our neighbors as ourselves. This was work on both sides of the fence, and we grew. And we opened the door to be able to receive more gifts. Gifts don't always come in the wrapping we think they should. Some don't have any glitter or bows. They don't even come in a box or gift bag. And considering the reflection that Judy shared with us earlier in the service, her gift came wrapped in a package labeled betrayal. No, she didn't see it as a gift at the time, but once she began reaping the benefits of a better sense of self, she could see that she had been gifted. In the long run, not only did Judy become a more confident, self-reliant woman who learned how to value her friendships and how valuable they were, she also gave her ex a gift. She gave her the gift of forgiveness, and through that act, she opened the door to unconditional love. Sometimes it feels like that door to unconditional love is ambivalent in nature. It swings wide open, and then it seems to shut closed with a slam and a bam. The truth is, we all want the same things from life. We want peace, love, and prosperity. But we can't get there until we can respectfully honor our differences and give up the need to be right. If you calculate what that is costing us, you would definitely not want to pay the price. I doubt most people have stopped to do that. Most are looking at the surface, and they are looking long enough to know that the struggle for righteousness is still the saddest show on earth. And then they're going back to business as usual. So what is the cost of being right? What is the cost of not being willing to share power? What is the cost of rigging the game? What is the cost of genocide? What is the cost of poverty? What is the cost of misogyny? What is the cost of a community ravaged by disease and unsafe drinking water? What does it cost to be apathetic, to turn away as though you don't see what you just saw? What is the cost of climate control, fires raging out of control, violent storms that rip apart neighborhoods, cities, and towns. What does that cost a nation of people? Frankly speaking, it doesn't matter what it costs, because there isn't enough money in the world to pay for the damage. But we will pay. And we will all pay in ways that will affect generation after generation after generation. Our sons and our daughters and our sons' daughters and our daughters' sons will be cleaning up our mess for years to come. Their brokenness and emptiness and lack of empathy will make them the walking dead. Is that what we want? If not, it's time to clean house. If we do not clean up our mess, we continue to suffer. Those who are slamming the door shut and those who are trying to get more love and respect will suffer. I think if those folks who are trying to keep people down knew the damage it was causing to their own hearts and psyche, they would choose differently. They think they can cut themselves off from another person's suffering, but they can't. We are more interconnected than some realize. And just because some don't want to acknowledge it, doesn't mean it's not so. That angry mob outside of Ruby's school couldn't acknowledge it, but Mrs. Barbara Henry, Ruby's first grade teacher, certainly did. As indicated previously, she showed us the face of love, unconditional love. Mrs. Henry showed up at school that morning with the understanding that they needed a new teacher. It was her first day, and she just wanted to teach. Little did she know that she would be helping to teach a whole nation of people what it means to love one another, to love your neighbor as yourself, and what it is like to be guided by a moral compass and an inner authority that strengthens your resolve and builds bridges instead of barriers. Love is a bridge builder. Love is unity, understanding, and harmony. It is the glue that binds us and reminds us that we are all in this thing together. It is as necessary to the well-being of the soul as food is for the strength of the body. Love is a universal language. Although our lives may not be personally touched by violence, police brutality, and racial injustice, it is all around us. And the blood from those who have been victimized runs like a muddy river through our souls. Lives that had been lost due to a warped criminal justice system has impacted people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Rayshard Brooks, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, and many, many more. It has ripped out the hearts of families and people who love one another, regardless of skin color. A system that is decayed will spill its rotten core throughout an entire existence. And remember, it's not the people that are rotten, it's the system. And if the system is not fixed, we will all pay a price. At this point, it may be beyond fixing. It may be that it needs to be burned down and something entirely new has to come into existence. What would happen if we learned to look at things differently? What if we had peace officers instead of police officers? Or maybe they can work side by side. Can you feel that? Does something inside of you shift a bit when you hear the word peace? Maybe there's a bit of healing going on. These battles, whether they are inward or outward, leave scars. What we need is healing at the core. It's not enough to talk about healing our country and all of the hurt of the world. That's the easy part. We need to look at those arrows that we've turned inward on ourselves. We need to look at those arrows, and we need to kiss those scars. We need to look at the places where we hurt, where we don't trust, where we feel we're not enough. That's where the doubt creeps in. We need to look at those places and love them. Love it all. Until we can do that, the inner and the outer wars continue as those who suffer from the coronavirus, forest fires, and extreme mental anguish cry out like George Floyd and say, "I can't breathe." Why not let love be your coach? Why not let love surprise you with its capacity for healing and revealing those silent secrets that are eating at your soul? Let love mold and reshape and hold you. Let love help you find the way. When we are willing to express our warmth and light and shine it in all directions, we cause things around us to grow. Our souls are like little moonbeams that express the light of who we are. When that light shines, we emanate what Jesus called love and what Buddha called compassion. This is a way of lengthening and strengthening the roots of our community. In the words of Eileen Caddy, you cannot live unto yourself and find real happiness and satisfaction in life. Live for the whole and give to the whole and be whole. Eileen Caddy. There's that love. It's coming in the back door. It's coming in with your face and hands and feet and heart and head. It's coming in as you, a clear being who reflects the love inside so that others may more easily see the love within their own selves. Love is never done. It just keeps expanding and enveloping all that it comes in contact with. If you want to break down the walls of separation and connect with others, try activating a beautiful curiosity about them and dedicate yourself to sharing with them what brings you joy. Cultivate the habit of trusting love by activating it. Trust love enough to create something new out of pain. Trust love enough to never give up. Trust love enough to hold in your heart the healing of the past. When you are challenged in a relationship, whether it's with your mother, father, sister, brother, spouse, partner, colleague, whomever, try this if you can. Get a picture of whoever it is and put it on an altar or in another place where you can see it daily. Each day, send that person love. Do this even if you resist on some level. The person's soul can receive the love even if, in this moment, the person's mind cannot. Make a daily habit of feeling that you like people and that people like you, that you belong to them and they belong to you. Simple. At times, we are faced with events that look and feel like anything but love. It is as if love has gone out of style and it has been replaced with a one-size-fits-all, take-it-or-leave-it mentality. Is love no longer fashionable? Did it go out of style? Where is the love? In this poem, written by Alice Walker, titled, "While Love is Unfashionable," it implies that if love has gone out of style, then we should live unfashionably. While Love is Unfashionable by Alice Walker. While love is unfashionable, let us live unfashionably, seeing the world a complex ball in small hands, love our blackest garment. Let us be poor in all but truth and courage, handed down by the old spirits. Let us be intimate with ancestral ghosts and music of the undead. While love is dangerous, let us walk bareheaded beside the great river. Let us gather blossoms under fire. Written by Alice Walker. Like other precious commodities that are becoming extinct, we seem to be in danger of losing love. If it is becoming unfashionable, what will take its place? Don't worry. Regardless of how many may try to sell us on the idea that it's useless, love cannot be replaced. In this quote by James Baldwin, he says, "Love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without, and know we cannot live within." I use the word love here, not merely in the personal sense, but as a state of being or a state of grace, not in the infantile American sense of being made happy, but in the tough and universal sense of quest and daring and growth. James Baldwin, from The Fire Next Time. Mrs. Lucille Bridges extended herself so that a high quality of education could be made available to all, in particular for Black children and all others who are marginalized. Rest in peace and power, Mrs. Bridges. Thank you for your courageous heart that pushed us forward as a nation and served as an example of strength and bravery to us all. Thank you for gifting us with your little girl who taught us what it's like to love like nobody's business. Love is our best coach. And now,
525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter and strife. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love, seasons of love. 525,600 minutes, 525,000 journeys to plan, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man? In truth that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died. It's time now to sing out, though the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year in the life of friends. Remember that love. Remember the love. Remember the love. Measure in love. Seasons of love. Seasons of
Now bring your chalice close to extinguish it as I extinguish the chalice here. We extinguish our flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
remember, coffee hour is at 11:30 a.m. on Zoom. The link was in the Friday e-news, and it is here in the Facebook chat. There will not be a sermon chat this week. And now, the benediction. As we enter more deeply into the holidays and the season of love, remember to start with yourself. Nurture your soul. Listen to your heart. Be brave and do the right thing. Sow seeds of love. Love is the greatest uniting factor in the universe. So, love, love, love. So may it be. Amen.